We are back in the 28 days slash weeks, now years, universe. We are back in this world. And it's been some time. You know, the anticipation for this movie was very high for me, especially as a horror movie. A lot of people are fans of these movies. Never thought that they would come back and make another movie. Not only one movie, but this movie is going to be a trilogy. They already announced that 28 years later, Bone Temple will be the next film to come out. That's supposed to come out in January, which should have been kind of like a red flag. There was a lot of little red flags about this movie that I wanted to kind of just ignore and go into this with fresh eyes and an open mind. I definitely have some issues. There's a lot of issues with this movie, and I could see some people walking away from this movie very disappointed and expecting a lot more. And maybe we will get more in the sequels. But let me dial this back. I will say the opening scene to this movie didn't really I thought it was pretty bad. I honestly thought, we saw a little bit of it in the trailer where you have these kids in this room watching Teletubbies while their parents are screaming and scrambling and stuff like that in the background. And I felt like that was just a really missed opportunity to kind of set up a really dope scene. Everything's insinuated. Not saying you needed to show those kids being just mutilated and just completely just torn to shreds, or it would have just been cool to see little kids and whatnot just turn into the infected, because they did have that in the first movie and whatnot, but they never really pushed it there. Just a little nitpick right there. Not really a nitpick, I will say. It just didn't really set the tone right, in my opinion. And then we kind of fast forward. They let you know what happened during all this time. So pretty much there's a lot of isolation going on around Europe. They've pretty much kind of contained it, but it's still dangerous in a lot of areas, and a lot of people are just kind of left to kind of fend for themselves, which leads us to our new characters. Aaron Taylor Johnson is in this, plays a father. I think Spike's father's name. Spike is the little kid in this. He's pretty much our main character for not only this movie, but pretty much this whole entire trilogy. That's what it kind of seems like it's going for. Or I'll get into my thoughts about that, because I will be talking about spoilers this weekend on the Horror Never Dies special presentation. I'm going to be talking about Final Destination, Bring Her Back, and also this. So I'm not going to go too heavy into spoilers. So back into the story, and the gist of everything is you have Spike, our main character. He's the youngest. He is kind of this is his coming of age, where he's going out with his father to go hunt, to go to the mainland, because he comes from this island where it's just completely cut off from civilization. They pretty much live a little tight community. They don't run into any infected, because there's this whole body of water that they kind of have to wait for the tides to change to even kind of cross over. That's a little cool detail and stuff like that. So it's pretty much a father-son kind of bonding moment. Him becoming a man, a rite of passage, shit like that. That was cool. There's another subplot which deals with Spike's mother. She's really sick. You don't know exactly what's going on with her. Jodie Comer, I think, plays his mother, Isla, and she probably has the best performance aside from Ralph Fiennes in this. And even the kid that plays Spike does a pretty good job. I've never seen him in anything else outside of this, so you have that. But where my complaints come in at is like it has everything to do with this movie in general. You know what I'm saying? Like it tries to set up these new characters and set up all these different things kind of going on. And I feel like with 28 years later, you would think um the infected would become more, how should I say, more evolved, even though they do have these more evolved versions, which, Jesus Christ, bro, I would never want to run into an alpha giant naked man, bro. That whole shit was a little unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? I get it, like they're supposed to be primal, but goddamn, bro, like you didn't need to focus on certain body parts at those moments. That shit was just very disturbing. Like it just, I can't. I want to unsee shit. Like it's just they put it right in your face. It's crazy, but yeah, that's a negative for me. The way that this movie is shot, they talked about how this was shot on an iPhone 15 or something like that, and they've always kind of done something different and unique. The way that they shoot these movies, whether it be 28 days later, 28 weeks later, they never use like traditional filmmaking. Well, they do still use like your traditional film cameras and stuff like that, but they mix it with modern technology, which is really cool. But in this, it's a little frustrating and kind of gave me a headache. Like sometimes it just felt very goofy, felt very like, somebody like very fan made, and not in a really good way, because some of the special effects definitely look green screened and not good green screen. It's like green screen you would see in like a TV show, almost like felt like Walking Dead-esque at times. You know what I'm saying? Like that low budget. And I get it, you're limited, but at the same time, it just could have still done better. It could have been tighter. Now there are some moments where the cinematography and all that stuff shines, but then a lot of the movie is just really bad and just really choppy and weird. That's the best way I can kind of describe it. The way that this story kind of goes is a little all over the place, especially with the ending. I was just like, what is this anymore? It's like it kind of embraces this like over the topness, even kind of dives into some humor here and there, and I just don't feel like it works for 28 days or 28, like the whole franchise as a whole, because the tone of this, and the body count is very fucking low for my standards. I wanted to kind of see a little bit more carnage, a little bit more gore and stuff like that. That was kind of my issues rewatching 28 Days Later, where there's not a lot of like gratuitous violence, but that's why I want to go see a zombie flick for, is to see some crazy gnarly kills. Even though, like I said, the alphas do some crazy predator shit where they'll detach your head with your spine attached. That shit was fucking crazy. Like outside of that, the infected are kind of lame in this. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that improve in the sequels, because I feel like that's still like a lot of the weaker elements. There was one moment though between Spike and his mother that is probably the highlight, the best moment of the movie, period. I definitely just feel like a lot of areas of this movie just fall very fucking short. But I'm willing to see this through. I want to see what they do with the rest of this, and if they can kind of make this come together and land the plane. But let me know your thoughts on this. But stay tuned this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will be doing a live discussion about this with my homie Rashad G Reviews. So definitely tune in for that. Till next time, I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.